that's another thing. Calvin is someone that he's like, when I ain't had no pops, Calvin was the person that you feel me, stepped in them shoes. So no matter if he's not my coach, anything like that, he's always gonna be in my life.
That's it.
Can you allude to more about growing up with Lamont Roach in the gym? I know you said it was
Oh man, them two used to go at it. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tank was from Baltimore, Roach was from DC, and not knowing that
This leaves somebody at a distinct disadvantage, and I think that's unfair. And so that's how I look at it, and that's what bothers me about Gervonta fighting this guy.
In preparation for Gervonta Tank Davis's bout, Lamont Roach Jr. allegedly implied that Coach Calvin Ford wasn't doing enough in camp. Tank didn't hold back. In a dramatic moment caught on camera, he fired back with unadulterated intensity and unwavering devotion to his trainer. Roach's allegation was scornfully rejected by Davis, who firmly supported Ford and claimed that the criticism was not only unjustified, but also blatantly offensive. The heated argument reveals the underlying emotions surrounding the contentious majority draw with Roach, as well as Davis's intense protectiveness of his squad.
I don't know the exact details or stuff that we've heard, but I think he's going to have Calvin in his corner this time. I think he will have Kenny, but he's not going to have Calvin. I think that's probably going to be like an advantage for you since he's going to have somebody new in his corner, if I'm not mistaken.
more than likely. I think that's a little weird. You know what I'm saying? Be with your trainer, your lifetime, your career trainer, and to to not have him as your head trainer in the corner. So that might be a difference maker for him. You never know. I think me personally as a boxing fan, I think Calvin fits him the best. Knowing boxing inside and out, I think Calvin fits him the best. So who knows?
On March 1st, 2025, Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. faced off at the Barclays Center. The fight was more than simply a competitive match. It sparked a full-fledged story. Tank's previously flawless record was marred by the majority draw, but it also served as a catalyst for drama involving Coach Calvin Ford, camp tensions, and the anticipation of an exciting rematch.
So, Rick Glazer is reporting that Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach sold 149,000 pay-per-view buys, and he tweeted this report at Turkey Al Sheikh. Coincidence? Truthful? Do you trust Rick Glazer's reporting on this issue? If you do, let me know why. If you don't, let me know why not. But you best believe I have a long video coming on this later today. Y'all be sure to check that out. We'll see y'all soon.
Gervonta Davis was chastised by Keyshawn Davis for his lack of concentration during the bout with Lamont Roach. He claimed that Tank's performance might have suffered since his mentality wasn't entirely in the ring. Many fans concurred, thinking that his difficulties during the eagerly awaited bout were caused by factors outside of boxing.
Tank overall, like the bigger picture, he just wasn't focused for real. He, doing a lot of arguing in the ring and just a lot of stuff that wasn't like, he wasn't just focused. He wasn't all the way locked in the ring. You heard him say something like, it's a lot of things going on outside the ring that he was leading up to the fight, and shit, that's natural, you know what I'm saying? It's normal. Shit, I was going through the same thing with this last fight, you know, so I just feel like he just wasn't focused.
Many fans were dismayed by Davis's weak performance against Lamont Roach, which made them wonder if he was still at his best. The rumor that Davis suffered without the help of longtime trainer Calvin Ford was only strengthened by his absence. Some people think that Tank's lack of sharpness was mostly caused by Ford's departure.
Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach goes to a majority decision draw, with Tank retaining his WBA lightweight title. Now, I did not score this fight a draw. I had it 7-5 to Lamont Roach. I thought he had the ring generalship and effective pressure. He was landing the jab and effective combinations. Tank, as usual, had a very low output, and he was relying on one big shot. I gave Roach the first 3 rounds, Tank the next 3 rounds, and then Roach Ford the last 6 rounds to win the fight. Not to mention, Tank did take a knee in the middle of the fight. By rule, that should have been considered a knockdown. Yes, it was to get his mouthpiece, and that's why they didn't rule it a knockdown. But anytime a fighter takes a knee, that's a knockdown. And that would have given Roach 1 more point to win the fight. Now, I'm sure they'll run it back. Lamont Roach absolutely deserves a rematch. He just had the fight of his life. He wasn't scared to go toe-to-toe with Tank. landing his combinations, the bigger counters, and the more effective shots, he definitely deserves a second payday. Now, in the co-main event, Gary Antoine Russell put on an amazing performance. I think he won 11 or 12 rounds against Raya Valenzuela. Great hand speed, good combinations, masterclass to win the WBA title. And then in the featured bout, Alberto Puello beat Sandor Martin to retain his WBC title. He landed the cleaner left hands, definitely won the last 2 to 3 rounds to edge the fight. But overall, good card. I do think Roach won the fight.
In round 9, the fight reached its peak when Davis took a knee following a jab, which even referee Steve Willis subsequently said should have been a knockdown. However, Willis ignored the situation and let Tank wipe his face with his corner. No count was given. The boxing community shouted foul as the crowd jeered. Few people agreed with Davis's post-fight explanation that he took the knee because of a greasy hair product that bothered his eyes. However, Roach adamantly asserted that he was deserving of the victory.
He take a knee. You need to lose like 10-8 that round at least, no? And plus the corner go up and put it a towel in the face. That's a disqualification for sure.
To override his decisions or knockdowns. Some skeptics have suggested that Willis's call benefited Davis unfairly, but we do not subscribe to that notion. In our long experience judging fights, we see no evidence of favoritism, only a referee prioritizing the physical safety of a fighter who appeared compromised by an eye injury. Which I actually get. I understood that statement because, hey, look, Steve Willis he didn't call it a knockdown.
You take a knee like that, that looks like a knockdown. All right.
So I think it's going to be very difficult for the New York State Athletic Commission to review this.
Gervonta Davis addressed the controversy surrounding round 9 by stating that he took a knee because he didn't want anyone to see that something had gotten into his eye. He acknowledged that he was unaware of the possible repercussions, saying, "But I didn't know I could get disqualified for this." The outcome of the battle has only become more controversial as a result of this admission.
I must say, do it enough.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning, and you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the knee than, but I didn't really know that you can get disqualified for all that, or when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell?
Between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach intensified on social media after their tense fight, especially on X, previously Twitter. In order to keep fans and commentators interested in the ongoing story, both boxers participated in public discussions, discussing the results of their first battle and hinting at the prospect of a rematch.
Forget that, let me take a knee, that's a knockdown. But either way, it looked like they may have an immediate rematch. Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis goes back and forth on X, and here's what they say. Which it seems to me that, okay, if the New York State Athletic Commission overturns the result of the fight, then yeah, it's an immediate rematch anyway. Like Lamont Roach said, he has it in the contract. But if it remains a draw, it looks like Tank's still going to push for the rematch. And I'm hearing that, the fight that they were going to have, which would delay this rematch, was a fight with Pitbull. You can argue that a rematch with Lamont Roach would be far bigger than a rematch with Pitbull. But let me know how you feel in the comments below.
Since his early years, Davis has had Calvin Ford by his side, helping him grow from a disturbed youngster to a multi-division world champion. Ford, however, is more than simply a coach. He is a mentor and surrogate father who has saved lives in West Baltimore through boxing. Ford came out of his 10 years in federal prison in the 1980s, determined to keep local kids out of trouble. In an effort to keep Davis off the streets, he took him under his wing after meeting him at the Upton Boxing Center when he was 7 years old.
It was just the work. When we first started, man, it was nobody in the gym. And how would I sit there and say one kid and another kid and another kid, and they seen the love that we was giving. Everybody keeps thinking it's boxing. It's not boxing. It's basically giving them an opportunity to be themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and I always preach that because I sit there and tell them all the time. I say, all us gonna get old, so I need y'all to grow up quick. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? So when we in the gym, we're not just teaching boxing, we teaching life skills.
So you,
What are you gonna do to me?
Nothing.
And y'all seen the results.
Seen the results.
You seen the results of it. You know, everybody kept saying it was this, it was that. You know what I'm saying? And they only found increments of it. You know what I'm saying? But it's full to win.
exactly.
Please share your opinions in the comments section below.